Damen und Herren, guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen zum Tag 2 der internationalen Online-Konferenz hier live aus Köln mit dem Thema Stärkung der Rechte Älterer in Zeiten der Digitalisierung, Erkenntnisse aus der Covid-19-Pandemie. Ich bin Martin Hoffmann und den ganzen Vormittag mit dabei ist...
Mein Name ist Katja Nellissen, auch von mir natürlich ein ganz herzliches Willkommen. Martin hat es eben schon gesagt, es ist der zweite Tag der Konferenz und nachdem wir gestern schon so viele interessante Reden und spannende Diskussionen erlebt haben, möchten wir heute diesen Schwung natürlich mitnehmen in den zweiten Kongresstag. Was haben wir heute vor? Wir haben eine politische Debatte für Sie, wir haben wieder Diskussionsrunden, wie auch gestern schon. Und natürlich können auch Sie sich wieder einbringen heute in diese Konferenz. Dazu haben Sie die Gelegenheit, Fragen zu stellen und zu den Diskussionen beizutragen oder auch in Votings Ihre Meinung kundzutun zu verschiedenen Fragen zum Thema unseres Kongresses. Und wie das funktioniert, erklärt jetzt Martin.
Ja, vielen Dank. Und hinter mir sehen Sie erstmal den Aufbau der Webseite und da kann ich sehr gut daran erklären, wie das alles funktioniert. Das heißt, wir haben hier auf der linken Seite einmal den Livestream. Wenn Sie etwas runterscrollen, dann können Sie hier die Sprache genau einstellen. Also ob Sie auf Deutsch, ob Sie auf Englisch oder auf einer anderen Sprache hören möchten, können Sie direkt hier unten einstellen. Ein kleiner Tipp noch, wenn das nicht ganz flüssig läuft, dann liegt das vielleicht an Ihrer Leitung zu Hause. Das heißt, Sie können hier von HD auch auf mittlere Qualität stellen. Dann läuft es wahrscheinlich etwas flüssiger, aber am besten Sie probieren da einfach beides mal aus. Dann haben wir hier oben auf der rechten Seite Q&A, das ist ein Chat, da können Sie uns Fragen stellen und Fragen natürlich auch nochmal für die Diskutanten, die wir dann in die Diskussion natürlich mit einbringen können. Und ganz rechts oben Polls, das heißt, wir haben dort Umfragen. Wenn Sie gestern schon dabei waren, dann wissen Sie natürlich, wie das funktioniert. Also einfach teilnehmen, anklicken, die Auswahlmöglichkeiten und dann haben wir innerhalb von 20 bis 30 Sekunden direkt das erste Ergebnis. Und um richtig gut in den Tag reinzustarten, würde ich sagen, probieren wir das doch mal direkt. Und die Frage ist eigentlich auch relativ einfach. Haben Sie gestern an dieser Konferenz hier teilgenommen? Ja oder nein? Und dann schauen wir doch direkt mal. Es geht auf jeden Fall schon mal ein überwältigendes Ja. Das wird immer mehr. 84% sagen direkt, okay, haben teilgenommen. 16%, da kann sich natürlich immer noch ein bisschen was tun, weil es ist natürlich eine Live-Abstimmung. Ich würde aber einfach mal sagen, die große Mehrheit hat teilgenommen, es wird immer mehr. Das freut uns natürlich sehr. Und für jeden, der eventuell nicht teilgenommen hat, heißt ungefähr die 16%, keine Angst, die Inhalte gestern sind natürlich nicht verloren. Es wird eine Dokumentation geben, auch natürlich vom heutigen Tag, aber wir freuen uns natürlich, wenn Sie weiterhin auch heute mit dabei sind. Und mit diesem Ergebnis, dass 81% gestern schon dabei waren, gebe ich rüber zu Katja.
Herzlichen Dank. Ja, das ist natürlich wunderbar, dieses Ergebnis zu sehen. Das freut uns sehr, dass so viele auch wieder dabei sind. Und ich verspreche Ihnen, es wird heute nicht weniger interessant als gestern. Und auch heute haben wir wieder sehr hochkarätige Gäste gewinnen können. Eine davon ist unsere Eröffnungsrednerin, die uns jetzt gleich live zugeschaltet sein wird. Da ist sie schon. Helena Dalli, EU-Kommissarin für Gleichstellung. Frau Dalli, der virtuelle Applaus ist schon mal bei Ihnen. Wie schön, dass Sie da sind. Herzlich willkommen. Sie haben das Wort.
Yes, thank you, Katja. Can you hear me?
Ja, wir können Sie jetzt auch hören. Herzlichen Dank.
Very good, very good. Good morning to you all. And thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this morning. We find ourselves in the midst of several transitions. The digital transition, the recovery from the coronavirus crisis, and the transition to a true union of equality. These transitions can only be successfully achieved with everyone on board. Most aspects of our daily lives are being affected in some way by digitalization. Change is happening at a speed we have never seen before. Despite this fast-paced development, we must make sure that older people are included in digital life. Older persons have a right to full participation in public, social, and cultural life, as well as in education and continuous training. We know that the digital divide between generations in the Union is significant, and it increases with age. The 2019 Fundamental Rights Survey shows that only 20% of people aged 75 years and over use the internet at least occasionally, in comparison with 98% of 16 to 29-year-olds. But older persons are obviously diverse. Like any group of citizens, the interest and ability to use new technologies diverge from one person to the other. Some find it easier to use ICT, while others may have difficulties because of functional limitations. One-size-fits-all solutions are therefore destined to fail. Age itself is also not a barrier to using digital technologies. Research suggests that many older persons simply do not perceive the relevance of these technologies in their own lives. And older people tend to face other barriers than younger people, such as cost, lack of skills, or lack of accessibility. Most Europeans also have multiple health conditions or mobility impairments in their later years, which may include some form of disability. There is indeed a close correlation between older age and disability. According to data transmitted by the member states, almost half of people aged over 65 have some form of disability, as compared to 1/5 of those below 65. This means that actions we take and implement to support persons with disabilities also contribute to a more inclusive society for older persons. Digital tools need to be accessible and easy to use by all, regardless of age. This is a precondition for the inclusion of all Europeans. So what are we doing about it? First of all, the EU has adopted legislation that will make a difference. The 2019 European Accessibility Act will improve accessibility to computers and phones for everyone. We also know that the vast majority of websites and mobile applications remain inaccessible to persons with disabilities and are difficult for older people to use. The 2016 Web Accessibility Directive requires public sector websites and mobile apps to be accessible, including the information and public services they provide. The directive is a game changer both for market harmonization and the implementation of accessibility to digital public services. In early 2021, the Commission will launch a new disability rights strategy. The strategy will cover all aspects of life of persons with disabilities. Accessibility will remain a key element for ensuring that all people can participate in society and in economic life. The strategy will also draw lessons from the impact of the coronavirus crisis on persons residing in institutions. Those who wish to live independently should be able to rely on adequate community-based services rather than institutions. Such alternatives can be facilitated by digital tools such as fall detectors and smart homes. This can allow older people to live longer independently. Digitalizing the health and care sector can also benefit from long-term care, for which there will be increased demand in aging societies. Automation can support the long-term care workforce by taking over difficult, heavy, or repetitive tasks. This can contribute to making the long-term care sector more accessible and attractive for workers. There are many other ways where digital technologies can help rendering the care and health sectors more effective. For instance, the uptake of telemedicine in healthcare may prove essential in sparsely populated remote areas. During the pandemic, we rely more than ever on digital tools. But due to the lack of access to digital communication, older people face difficulties in accessing essential information. They struggle to find updates on the pandemic itself and on public health measures. They have difficulties in accessing relevant public services and maintaining social contact. The Commission's response to the pandemic has taken those concerns into consideration. The Commission Toolbox for the use of technology and data to combat and exit from the COVID-19 crisis, issued last April, addresses the inclusiveness and accessibility of technology. It recommends specific actions for vulnerable groups, such as older people. These actions include national helplines and standalone devices or wearables that do not require a smartphone to operate. The pandemic makes it more important than ever to improve access for older people to digital tools and the skills to use such tools. A digital divide between those who can make full use of new technologies and those who cannot risk leaving pockets of exclusion. This calls for increased digital literacy and the closing of gaps. The European Pillar of Social Rights includes several principles addressing the needs of older persons, from adequate income to high quality and accessible services. The Commission will publish an action plan on how to implement the pillar early next year. It will build on recent initiatives and will fill existing gaps. One priority is the right to quality and inclusive education, training, and lifelong learning. The recent European Skills Agenda aims to bring about a shift in skills so that everyone can take advantage of the green and digital transitions and to support a prompt recovery from the coronavirus crisis. The focus is on lifelong learning pathways. For digital skills, the objective is that at least 70% of adults up to the age of 74 should have basic digital skills by 2025. With a growing number of senior citizens, policies must concentrate on skills for life, including health literacy and active citizenship. The Commission will support inclusive adult learning systems at local level, which reach out to all, including seniors. Many member states have increased the pension age. Supporting longer working lives is a matter of economic need, but also of equal opportunities. The job environment needs to be accessible to enable older people and people with disabilities to participate in the labour market. Accessibility and reasonable accommodation are essential to ensure that as workers become older, they retain their jobs and continue to perform and remain productive on an equal footing with their younger peers. The Commission report on the impact of demographic change, published last June, has demonstrated very clearly that we need to build a more age-friendly society. We must allow an increasing number of older people to remain active, access essential services, and continue contributing to society for as long as possible. In this context, the Commission will present its Green Paper on Aging in 2021. I am working closely with Vice President Suica to ensure it has a solid equality dimension. The Commission is committed to mainstreaming the impacts of aging on equality in all policy fields in order to help societies and economies adapt appropriately. We must also make sure that digitalization does not lead to exclusion. Society needs to develop in a way that accommodates the needs and interests of all ages. No one should be left behind in the digital transition. Older persons are diverse in their identities and experiences. They have different income, state of health, level of education and integration in family and social networks. But also relevant is their gender, sexual orientation and identity, or experience of migration. These circumstances must be taken into account when developing effective policies that directly or indirectly affect older persons, especially in this digital world. We must join our forces. We must discuss, share experiences, and best practices, drawing from different perspectives, be it of governments, international organizations, civil society, or academia from all across the EU. This will give us the necessary inspiration and provide potential avenues on how to ensure that older people can fully take advantage of the digital transformation. Thank you.